Okay, I'm going to show you just a couple more completing the square problems. And I'm going to reteach this right now, like you haven't seen it before, just so it feels new and hopefully it'll answer some questions people have been having. You complete the square whenever you look at an equation and you see that b is an even number. So b is always with your x term, b is 2, 2 is even, you want to complete the square. First thing you want to do, you do not want to equal to 0. You want to subtract that 3 and move it to the other side. So you want to get the x squared and the x isolated. You want them to be by themselves. Then you think about 2, and if you're going to factor it, what is half of 2? Well, it's a 1. Then think about that number squared. 1 squared is 1. So you take the b, cut it in half, and you get a 1. 1 squared is 1. You add that to both sides, because what you do on the left, you got to do on the right. Now, the whole reason that works is if I asked you to factor this side, you would say it's x plus 1 times x plus 1. If I asked you to go and factor it, you would get this. So we write that as a binomial squared, and we skip this step. On the other side, we get a negative 2. So notice, half of b is 1, 1 squared is 1, and we put that on both sides. Now we have a binomial squared. We're going to square root both sides, so we have plus or minus the square root of negative 2. We're going to subtract this 1, and then we look at negative 2 is under a radical. You need to take the I out, leave the 2 underneath. And that's how you complete a square. So I'm going to give another problem. You would take the 5 and move it to the other side by subtraction. You would take the negative 10, half of that is negative 5. Then you would square it. Negative 5 squared is 25, and that's what ends up on both sides. So we have x minus 5 quantity squared equals a positive 20. Half of negative 10, negative 5, the sign matters. Negative 5 squared is positive 25, positive 25. Square root it. We have x minus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 20. We move 5 to the other side. Now, you may think that you're done. You're not. 20 does break down. There's a pair of 2's in there with a 5 left over. You have to do that. You have to finish that step.